The Race and Postcast, in association with Paddy Power, they prize up all UK and Irish racing the night before.
Hello there, a very warm welcome along to the Racing Post Weekend Review Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington and I'm delighted to be joined by a fantastic panel that comprises the great Sam Twiston-Davies, the great Brendan Duke and the great Tom Nugent from Paddy Power. What a build-up, chaps, you better deliver here. We're looking back on a really fascinating weekend. Haydock was the main event on Saturday and it threw up all sorts of clues for Cheltenham and beyond. And then there was also a really good meeting at Leopardstown yesterday. We will be asking just how good is York Hill. But we will start with Haydock on Saturday, and what a great weekend for the Twiston-Davies yard. Sam, I presume the shareholders of the Hollow Bottom, your local in Guyting Power, had a very, very profitable Saturday night, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm sure. I wasn't actually out myself, but as you can imagine, I suppose they love it when Nigel's horses are in form, and they've been in rude health for most of the year, so wouldn't surprise me if the books are well in front for them anyway.
Jolly good. Let's start with the new one then. Between the last two flights of hurdles, Sam, how worried were you? Were you because I mean, he's won the race 3 times, but the previous 2, they weren't exactly armchair rides, were they? Were you thinking, oh Christ, here we go, or were you always confident you had enough for the other 2?
No, look, it is one of those. Haydock is a sharp enough track nowadays, and the 2 miles there is as sharp as 2 miles as you can find. So it's one of those that he's always going to be strong in the back end, but you just are in top gear plenty early there, and the one thing he was always going to do was finish well, so it was just trying to keep tabs on him before obviously trying to go for absolutely everything. Excellent
stuff. Well, you got it done in the end. Now, afterwards, I saw your interview on telly and I thought it was an absolute object lesson in diplomacy, because I think basically what it said was, I definitely want to go for the stayers hurdle, but I think the others don't, so I'm going to have to kind of get my view across very gently. Is that roughly, have I paraphrased that correctly?
That's it. I think the way to kind of say it is, as Carl said, you're just planting the seeds. So the ideas are there. I think Nigel actually summed it up well. He said, look, until we've seen, obviously, the market leaders out for Ian, Annie Power and such, they're going to make their, obviously, reappearances in the next couple of weeks. He says, and it's nice to have both options. He says, look, if we don't think we can win the champion hurdle, then we'll have a go at the world hurdle. But it is one of those. He just wants to see the other horses before making any 100% plans.
Let me ask you this, Sam. Novice hurdlers, novice chasers and championship chasers all have a 2.5 mile option. Hurdlers don't. Now, the argument against doing that is that it would just absolutely massacre the quality of the champion hurdle and probably the stayers hurdle. But, I mean, if there was a nice 2 mile 5, that would be right up the new one's alley, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that'd nearly be perfect. But even so, I'd never be afraid of the 3 miles. What we've got to remember is, as a young horse, he won the Leamington, which was 2.5. He then won at Cheltenham on decent ground, over 2.5 again. So he is a horse that does stay well, and obviously he's a bumper winner, so you wouldn't ever be afraid of them staying. But it is one of those, that would probably be the perfect race for him in an ideal world, but it would take away from the quality of the champion and world hurdle, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it certainly would. OK, Tom Nugent, what's Paddy Power's market assessment of the new one vis-a-vis the champion and the stayers? Is there a clue in the market as to which race the horse should go for?
So the new one is in the champion hurdle at the moment at 16-1, and in the stayers the new one is 12s. So obviously the trading floor suggests that their thinking would suggest that it's more likely for him to run in the stayers.
And you're non-runner, no bet on both of those, aren't you?
No bet on both, of course.
Brendan Duke, were he yours, this fine beast? And let's face it, he is a really beautiful horse, the new one, isn't he? I mean, I think, you know, in 20, 30 years' time, people still look back very fondly at him. But if he was yours, if you were lucky enough to own him, Brendan, which race would you be aiming him at Cheltenham?
I would probably skip Cheltenham altogether, go to Aintree for the 2.5 mile hurdle and Punchestown for the 3 mile hurdle. I think Punchestown, spring ground, 3 miles right-handed, could be ideal for him. But no one ever skips Cheltenham, so in that case, that I don't have the option, I would go for the stayers hurdle on the known knowns and unknown knowns, etc. angle, that we're almost certain he can't win a champion hurdle, but we don't know that he can't win a stayers hurdle, so I would go for the stayers hurdle.
Missing Cheltenham, Sam, that's not on the agenda, is it?
Definitely not for Nige anyway. That's his most important meeting of the year for him, so yeah. Sadly not really an option, but there's obviously some great shouts there, and hopefully he can go to Aintree afterwards and over to the Ideal trip.
Just a quick one, by the way, Sam. How old were you when you stopped calling him Dad and started calling him Nige?
Well, when we were very young, and we'd go racing with him, and we'd be stood in the owners and trainers. And funny enough, a lot of people would be going racing with their parents. So if you were shouting "Dad, Dad," he would just ignore you. But we soon realised that when anyone shouted Nige, he was soon quick to turn around. So that's kind of how it started.
Excellent. And also excellent was Bristol de Mai in the Peter Marsh. That was a really relentless, power-packed run, wasn't it? You were hoping to get a view of him aboard Bishop's Road, but the cancellation of Ascot stopped that. But you must have loved seeing Bristol de Mai get it done, didn't you, Sam?
Yeah, great to see him win like that, and it shows what he's capable of doing. It was a good training performance by Nige, who gave him plenty of time from the back of Newcastle to Haydock, and it was always the plan. It came off nicely, and I think it was apparent how well he jumped and travelled throughout the race. So hopefully a good building block for wherever he goes next.
And only 6. I mean, he made such an impression when he won that juvenile hurdle on Welsh National Day, didn't he? And he's really now fulfilling that potential. What do you suspect the next couple of years hold for Bristol de Mai? Fingers crossed he gets good health. What can he go on to prove, do you think?
Yeah, well, hopefully as long as he stays fit and healthy, he can keep progressing up the ladder. I think it's one of those, it's tough for a 4-year-old, so he went chasing last year, and then it was always going to be the question of what he could do this year out of novice company. So it's great that he's obviously been placing some of those the big handicap at Newcastle, and then he's gone and won a big handicap. So even if this rest of the season didn't go quite as you'd hoped, he's done well. So you'd always look forward to some soft ground, big handicaps, or whatever it may be you want to have a go at, you know.
Let's talk about the 2017 Cheltenham Gold Cup, only 2 months away. Is he a factor in that?
I think it all depends. I think it's an unbelievable, because he's a beautiful moving horse, so you wouldn't think good ground would be any problem. But just his form on soft ground looked so strong. So if it was terrain, I don't see any reason why he couldn't play a part. But Thistlecrack is an unbelievable horse, isn't he? So it'd be hard to see him winning it, but I could see him running very well.
OK, Tom, what price of Paddy Power, Bristol de Mai? Give us a latest show on the Gold Cup. We'll come to Thistlecrack later as we look ahead to Saturday.
Yeah, so Thistlecrack is 10 to 11 and Fav now in the Gold Cup. Native River 5 to 1, Jack Adam 8 to 1, Q Card 10s, Outlander 12s, Vroom Vroom Mag 16 to 1, and Bristol de Mai now 16 to 1. Initially 14s from 33s initially after the weekend, but just eased out to 16 to 1 now, and it's 20s bar.
What's the current Tom Nugent thinking on the Gold Cup?
I've been trying to kind of sound out a few people. I was down in Thurles on Thursday and just talking to a few shrewd heads, and the overwhelming theme just seems to be that Thistlecrack is a bit of a freak, and if you get odds against it, could be a great bet. I'd be inclined to agree now.
Oh, mind you, we're doing the Gold Cup on the anti-post price was tomorrow. Are you in the chair for that one, Tom?
I'm not. I think Frank Hickey is sticking up to the plate for that.
Okay,
so,
well, we can get your view. So you're saying Thistlecrack very much one to keep on side. Now then, Brendan Duke, what do you make of Bristol de Mai? He's a lovable beast, isn't he?
Very, very lovable horse. I mean, he's interesting. Talking to Sam just before we came on air, because he has these 3 massive efforts on heavy ground in terms of visual impression at Chepstow and two at Haydock. But in terms of figures, he put up a good figure in being second in the JLT last year. Now, I know the form could have worked out better, but I just think he looks a very big price relative to Native River. Now, Native River does look a terrible price at 5 to 1, but 16 to 1 Bristol de Mai wins he bolts up in a handicap off 154. The other horses won 2 good handicaps off 155. They were both second in a Cheltenham novice last year. I don't know how Bristol de Mai can be 3 times the price of Native River. They look basically the same horse to me. And
'tis our hype, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe the names, the Hennessy and the Welsh National, really evocative handicaps relative to the race on Saturday. But in terms of what he achieved, winning them off 155, I don't know how he's that short for the Gold Cup. But I suppose the Gold Cup's a great race for punters, isn't it? Because it's got a knock in each way shape to it. There's not going to be many runners. Bristol de Mai each way 16 to 1 looks very fair to me.
Really, you'd have him bang in the mix. Excellent stuff.
Well, he does have Cheltenham. Like, you couldn't say that the horse definitely needs heavy ground.
No, absolutely.
No.
OK, plenty more meat on the Haydock bone. We'll be back in a mo.
Get instant access to your winnings with Cashcard Plus, Paddy's brand new card, available to use at ATMs, online or in shops. T&Cs apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.co.uk.
The twist and shout in Sam's Saturday column in the Racing Post was politologue, and there was a point when that looked like absolutely, definitely going to deliver, but unfortunately, waiting patiently came and nabbed you on the line, Sam. How confident would you be of turning the tables there when they meet again?
Yeah, he gave him £4, so it was a fair effort. I think he probably ran to his mark at 152, so it was a fair effort to give, obviously, a weight away to a very fair horse. And hey, if you to take him on again off levels, you wouldn't be too afraid at all.
Excellent stuff. And so your faith in politologue hasn't been scuppered by what we saw. I mean, it's quite possible. We've just got two fantastic horses. They finished well clear, didn't they?
That's it. Finished well clear of the rest, and the rest are a very decent bunch in their own right. I think it's one of those when a race is run to suit him. He's made his own running the last twice. I thought we were going to jump off and go a better gallop than we did, and his jumping is what took me to the front. So I think when they do jump and go a gallop, and you can tuck him in and ride him normal, I think you'll see a better performance hopefully again.
So what tactically, what's the best way to get politologue to do his best?
He's a very strong traveller, and he's a very good jumper. So you'd never be afraid of tucking him in third or fourth off a strong pace, and then hopefully letting him run for the last couple of furlongs. It's never ideal to be the one with the bullseye on your back, because you're always just then a target for the ones behind. So although he jumped and travelled brilliantly in a true run race, hopefully he'll be better again. OK, that did look a decent class race, that, Brendan, didn't it? What was your main conclusion from there?
Yeah, no, it did. I mean, it did. That it's a freebies now mug, and he was 20 lengths back in third. I was very impressed with politologue, I have to say, because when I saw him going down to the start, the sweat running off him, and he slightly took off on the way to the start. Did he, Sam?
Yeah, he was very keen. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was a little keen in the race, but not as keen as I thought he was going to be when I looked at him pre-race. He seemed to settle reasonably well in front. But his jumping was so good, and he showed real heart to dig in there. It's just whether Cheltenham, he bombed out in the Coral Cup last year. I can't remember. Did you ride him in the Coral Cup last year, Sam?
Yes, I did. Yes.
And did he get excited before the race, or how did he handle?
I think he's still learning. I think the preliminaries are a big thing with him, so it might be something we might have to have a look at in the future. Yeah,
no, because if you could just keep a lid on him, I mean, I think he's a fair runner in that JLT. If he did settle, he's a really good jumper, and his heart is in the right place. And he's probably all right in decent ground. Does he beat that Rock the Casbah in Ascot? He probably doesn't need soft ground, does he?
No, he doesn't. I think he's also deals with soft to every ground very well, but there's no reason to think that better ground you won't see a better horse.
Right, okay. Yeah.
OK, well, now we're talking about the JLT. We'll get a show from Paddy Power from Tom, and then we'll discuss York Hill.
Yeah, so we're York Hill at the top 6 to 5 now. Bouverdare 7 to 1, Whisper 12s, Coney Island 14s, and then at 16 to 1 it's Identity Thief, Top Notch, Blue Ear Rouge, Benny de Dieu, waiting patiently. 20s Bar in there, 20 to 1 is Politologue.
OK, now then, Sam, did you watch York Hill yesterday?
Yeah.
And what did you make of him?
Sure, although it wasn't visually really flashy, he's still a horse that's got a lot to work on. I think he's one that is jumping and relaxing, and I think it'll come Cheltenham, when Willie's horses obviously hit top gear, that he's some of the performance he's put up. I think Aintree is probably the one that's most notable for me, considering how much he did wrong and still won. Shows how much ability this horse has.
But, I mean, he was jumping to the left, Jesse, didn't win by 5. He's probably, I mean, it's comfortable to an extent, but you couldn't say it was a mind-blowing performance. I mean, you know, he can be beat, can't he? He's no knocking better at Cheltenham by any means, is he?
No, but he's still on a learning curve, isn't he? He's still learning. He'll get better and better with racing. I think by the time to come to Cheltenham, hopefully he'll have ironed out a few things, and when he turns up there, like you say, from some of the performances we've seen from him in the past, he looks the real deal. But on yesterday, I'd say there's still a little bit to work on.
Brendan Duke, were you at sunny Leopardstown yesterday?
I was. It was a beautiful day.
It looked absolutely beautiful. And what did you make of York Hill?
Oh, he's a tricky horse, this. He's a talented but tricky horse. Now, there wasn't a bead of sweat on him in the parade ring, which is a good sign, because he can get very stewed up pre-race. So then he jumped off and he settled fine. And then coming past the stands the first time, he just took off. He's a very willful horse, and it's so tricky, I would imagine, as a jockey. It's very dangerous with these horses that go to the left like that, because if he clips the top of one, he's going left and you're going straight. So it brings the unseat into play. And you'd be worried about him again with the preliminaries for Cheltenham getting stewed up. He's got some issues for such a horse to be such a short price for a race at Cheltenham. I'd be wary of him.
Can you suss one for us then, Brendan, in the JLT? Is there one lurking further down?
I think that Politolog looks a big price at 20 to 1. I have concerns about the preliminaries, but I'm more willing to take a chance about one like that at 20 to 1 than one at 6 to 5 or whatever York Hill is. I think Politolog 20 to 1. I imagine that's the race he'll go for. So if he goes, I don't think he's a 20 to 1 shot.
Tom, Paddy have got to be looking to get this York Hill in the book, haven't you?
Looking at the market prices there, the lads in the trading floor quite clearly don't really have much of an interest in laying them. We're not taking them out at all. We're ducking them, to be honest, and we're top price the next 5 in the betting. So it looks like the lads don't want to lay them.
Fair enough. Okay, back to Haydock. Neon Wolf. That was a performance and a half, wasn't it? I think you've got him 10 to 1 for both the Supreme and the Neptune, haven't you, Tom?
Indeed.
Okay, so Sam, Neon Wolf, what did you make of him, and what is his optimum race at Cheltenham, do you think?
I think what you've got to look forward to is in jumping fences in the future. I mean, the jump he put in 3 out was spectacular. I think looking at him, I think maybe it'll be a little bit more, might be suited to the Neptune, but he showed a good turn of foot to win on Saturday, so he isn't short of speed, but obviously just with his background, I think I'd probably favour the Neptune slightly more.
Okay, Brennan, this is a horse that, he's worth a second look at double figures here, isn't he, whichever race he goes for?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, the Time Boys were writing poetry to him after the race. He put up a huge run on the relative to the new one, who obviously is so solid crew as a yardstick goes. So the Time Boys are all over him. And
the only thing is, hang on a sec, Time Boys don't do poetry. They're too analytical. They don't have it in them. They don't have that artistic streak. They're very prosaic.
Their prose was getting flowery, shall we say.
Okay.
It was flowery prose. But visually as well, I mean, they had an inkling about this horse, didn't they? 5 to 2 into 4 to 5. Just keep backing him. Any price, a good price. You wouldn't get it in the bank. That's what they were doing with this horse. But he just settled so beautifully. His jumping got progressively better. He jumped brilliant down the straight, quickened up well. He's a huge runner in either race. I suppose, as you were saying, you've got to be interested with double figures. It's just trying to decide what race he's going to go for.
Absolutely.
I would go for the Supreme because it tends to be run at a truer gallop. I just generally prefer the Supreme to the Neptune, but I don't know. Would you back him now, Bruce, not knowing what he's going for?
That's the trouble, isn't it? I mean, it's real 50-50 job, isn't it? I think once you get the inkling, you'd be happy to take a slightly shorter price with the assurance that he's probably going to go for one particular target. But then, these trainers don't have to make their minds up until they can see what the rest of the field is. So I think again, we've talked about it before, haven't we? Bookmakers are so competitive on the day that I'd probably be quite happy to wait and just see what happens on the day. But Sam, you were third on Creve Hill. Was there any point at which you thought you had a chance with Neon Wolf, or did you just see that beautiful backside disappearing further and further into the distance?
No, he picked up really well at the bottom of the straight, and it was one of those, they're trying to grab hold of his coattails to try and get us as far as we could, but the sad thing was he winged 3 out and he was gone, so it looked a fair performance, and Creve Hill definitely isn't a mug by any means.
Absolutely not. Okay, any other horses that we should mention caught your eye over the weekend? We'll start with you, Tom Nugent. What has caught your eagle eye?
Can I just mention one during the week instead of the weekend?
Of course you can.
Sizing John down in Thurles. Thought he was really, really good. We went 10 to 1 from 16s for the Ryanair Sizing John, and he's been clipped into 8s again. I thought he was really, really good.
Indeed, and a big shout out to our Ireland editor Richie Forrestal, who tipped Sizing John on the day and also said back in for the Ryanair beforehand, so that was a good shout. Brendan Duke, what about you?
A few at Leopardstown. I wouldn't give up on that Capital Force. Very disappointing to the punters who took 4 to 6 on Sunday, granted, but he was too keen. He's qualified for a mark now. He could be one interesting for, say, a 2 mile novice handicap at one of the spring festivals. That Jet jumped very well in behind York Hill. I'd say they might have been half thinking about that the 2.5 mile novice chase in Cheltenham, but it's going to be a job to get him lower than 140 now, having beaten Gangster. So that's probably done for. They might run him in the Pertemps. He should get into that off the mark. The English handicapper will give him. I thought he was good. He might be just coming to himself. And Jessica Harrington as well. Jessica Harrington's horse is absolutely flying at the moment. That Oscar Sam, he was very impressive in the 3 mile handicap hurdle. And he's a big strong horse. Now he's 8, and they haven't even tried him jumping over fences. So I don't know whether he hasn't schooled well or anything. But he looks like one physically who could make a very nice 3 mile chaser.
Well, on the subject of Jessica Harrington, of course, remiss of me not to have mentioned Jet Ski earlier. What did you make of that performance, Sam? Did you see Jet Ski?
I didn't see him, but I heard he did well, and it's nice to obviously see these old superstars coming back.
Absolutely, it is. I mean, it was easy to back, but if you kept the faith, Brendan, it was a gutsy old performance, wasn't it? Typical Jet Ski. That heart has not shrunk in size, has it? Yeah,
I don't think. I think Barry was confident like that when the 2 horses come up on his outside. I was a little bit concerned. I don't think Barry was ever concerned though. He didn't pick up the stick to him. He just let them come back, and as you say, the heart is really there. He jumped brilliant as well. He never missed a beat. I think they have a bit of a dilemma there between the Stayers and the champion hurdle.
Well, this is the trouble. Poor old Nick Watts, who normally does the Monday Postcards, he's sunning himself in Spain. He was hoping to pay for that holiday with Jet Ski, but the trouble is the horse was so impressive, he now enters the champion hurdle equation, so they've got a bit of a new one style dilemma there. Tom Nugent, what's the market saying about Jet Ski now?
Jet Ski in the champion hurdle is now 10-1 from 16s, and in the Stayers is 5-1.
Okay, blimey, so he's taking a cut there. Jet Ski v the new one popping over the last in the Stayers hurdle is a situation I would very much like to see. 2 of my favourite racehorses. Sam, any horses that have caught your eye in the last few days that we should talk about?
It's probably a little bit more of a longer term prospect, but seeing Bishop's Road, actually, I thought he ran a solid national trial. Jumped well and he kept going nicely. It'd be interesting to see what weights he gets for obviously Aintree in April.
Absolutely. And the other thing I was going to ask you, Sam, is did you see the handicap hurdle at Leopardstown yesterday with Atois Phil? Another example of the brilliance of Jack Kennedy. Came from an absolutely hopeless position. He was rowing along well before the straight. This kid can ride, can't he?
Oh yeah, like he's obviously a very mature head on young shoulders. He's riding big winners obviously nearly every weekend now, and he's showing what he's well able to do in the saddle. He's good, he's strong, and he's got a very good racing brain. So he's got a massive, well, he's already doing massive things, but imagine what he's going to be doing in a few years' time. Absolutely
frightening. OK, let's look ahead to a scintillating weekend.
Let Paddy Power help you get Cheltenham ready with their new and exclusive Cash Card Plus. Get instant access to your winnings at ATMs, online, or even in your local supermarket. 18+, gambleaware.co.uk, T&Cs apply.
OK, so as if Cheltenham's Trials Day on Saturday wasn't good enough already, they've only gone and jammed the Clarence House in there as well. So it's going to be 9 races. I mean, be there or be square. It really, really is an absolutely phenomenal day's racing. And Sam, how many rides are you hoping to have, and which is the one that you're most excited about?
It'd be lovely to have one in every race. Like you say, you've got obviously Dodging Bullets going there, and they've got the cross country on as well. So it's going to be a big day, and hey, you never know, turn up there and hopefully have a few good rides.
Absolutely, it's going to be terrific stuff. Brendan, which horse are you most looking forward to at Cheltenham on Saturday? I suppose it's got to be the old Thistle, hasn't it?
Yes, of course. He's well, the biggest draw in national hunt racing.
Can he do anything to actually shorten his Gold Cup price appreciably? I mean, or is it almost a case that, you know, we might actually find, I mean, I seem to remember Dawn Run before she won the Gold Cup, putting in a couple of dodgy jumps, you know, in this meeting. And you know, is it possible that he might actually have a hiccup or two and his price could drift, do you think?
Yeah, I like you say, I think a lot has to do with the jumping, because the opposition, I mean, Smad Place might run
Many clouds, possibly?
Yeah, okay, so he can beat some legitimate horses. Okay, well that's good. And if he put in, say, a flawless round of jumping where he wasn't taken off half a stride too soon, like he did in the novice chase there earlier in the year, if he put in a flawless round of jumping, I could see him shortening, given it's a trial for the Gold Cup. But like you say, he could. People have slight question marks about his jumping. I mean, he can actually take off at the wings of fences. I know that's an expression people, but he actually took off the wings of one fence in Kempton and somehow got to the other side. So it's all jumping based, I'd say.
Absolutely. Tom, have we got any early prices for anything taking place at Cheltenham this weekend?
We actually don't have anything priced up at the moment.
You need to wait and see who's running, I guess, don't you? But
but just to flag for people aside from Cheltenham, if I may. Thursday afternoon there's a meeting on Goran Park, and there's some very, very interesting entries there. Of course, the Tyesius chase is the feature, but the maiden hurdle, we've got Mellon entered.
Oh, go on, Mellon.
In the Galmoy we've got Vroom Vroom Mag and others, and in the bumper is a great race featuring Agloss, Carter McKay, Get a Bird, West Coast Time. It's an absolutely belting card down in Goran Park on Thursday.
God, we really are going to be treated to some amazing action this weekend, because we've got great Thursday, we've got Cheltenham there, we've got Irish Champion Hurdle as well. It's going to be something else. Let's have a quick look at the Betfair Hurdle. We did the race in an anti-post perspective in the Racing Post last Friday. Any early thoughts on that? Sam, who are you likely to ride?
Imagine looking at it, we have Ballyandy in there. Nichols has obviously a string in there as well. Have to see, obviously, closer to the time what's happening, but originally best an opening mark. Ballyandy of 135 looks kind, with especially the way some of his form has worked out. But then the performance that Klein put up at the weekend was obviously a massive one. So he'll also be very interesting come the Betfair.
Absolutely. Any early Betfair thoughts from you, Brendan Duke?
Well, actually, Nichols has one in there. Move with the Times off 136. Now, I happen to be in Cheltenham for the November meeting, and this horse ran in behind Moon Racer in a complete farce of a race. But I saw him before the race. Very, very good looking horse, like an embryo chaser. He's a serious physique. But if Nichols thought he was up to this calibre of more if he was up to the rough and tumble of a 20-runner handicap hurdle at this stage of his career, I'd take the hint and back him.
Don't be shy. Ask the stable jockey.
Well, in fairness to Sam, like JP he could have 10 horses in this race, so it'd be very hard to they probably won't have decided at this stage, will they?
Sam, anything about that one? What's he called again? Moving Time.
Move with the Times. Yeah, he's a gorgeous-looking horse. He's every bit a chaser. Like you say, he seems the way he goes through his races. He's a strong traveller. He seems to be a good jumper. If Paul feels he's ready for this, then you have to take note.
Latest show of betting from Paddy Power on Betfair Hurdle, sponsored obviously by your new sister company.
Absolutely. Well, it's joint Fabs, Consul de Thay and Ballyandy at 8-1, Modus at 10s alongside Klein, and Move with the Times 14-1. Then Wait for Me and Mick Jazz, and a whole load at 16s.
Who's the Tom Nugent fancy?
Is Zubair going to run, Sam?
I imagine so. That's been the target for a long time now, so he'll be in there as well.
Nice each way price at 16-1. Wouldn't mind him.
Okay, and Sam, it sounds like you're on your way to Bangor as we speak, with the old police camera alerts beeping away in the car. Anything that we should look out for this week? Are there any nice prospects that you're riding between now and the weekend?
I'm looking forward to it. Well, Touchwood Leicester surviving the inspection tomorrow. They have some good racing on. They've got a listed mares chase there. It'd be nice to get back on to greet her. It looks a competitive affair, but she's been showing some pretty smart form this season, so we look forward to jumping back on her tomorrow.
Excellent stuff. Brendan Duke, my question to you is, how is the love life going? Any news up from the weekend?
Oh, there is news.
Oh, go on.
There is news, Bruce. The lesser spotted second date looks like it's in the offing.
Oh, wow. Come on. Where was the first date?
The first date was in Smith's of Ranelagh, because this girl lives in Ranelagh. I've gone so disastrous the first dates. I'm actually thinking about their commute time, so I've decided to have it where they live, so she can get home quickly. But this girl, it was unbelievable. I thought it went well, and she actually agreed for once. So
fantastic.
So she seems to have a lot of balls in the air. But there is a follow-up date provisionally penciled in for Sunday.
Are you going to take her to Leopardstown? Show her Faheen?
No, that's a big step. I'll probably I'll go to Leopardstown myself and then take her out of an evening.
Fantastic stuff. Well, let's hope that develops well. And Tom Nugent, what does the week hold for you?
I'm off to Gorn Park on Thursday, my home track, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And off to Amsterdam on Friday.
Beautiful stuff.
Oh.
Excellent. Okay, folks, have a fantastic week. Hope it's very successful, whether you're riding or betting. And join us tomorrow for the Gold Cup Prize-Wise. The Gold Cup Postcast, and then again on Friday, looking ahead to a mouth-watering weekend. Join us for those.
The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They stream all UK and Irish racing live on your mobile, tablet or PC.